All right, folks, we apologize for that mini small delay. We encountered a few technical faults before coming on here at our 9:30 pushback. With that, though, folks, good evening, WNBA and women's basketball fans, and welcome back into another edition of the WNBA 365 Network, covering everything and anything revolving around the WNBA and the rest of the women's basketball universe. In spite of us being tardy to the party, school is in session. Welcome in, folks, again to WNBA U, covering all the college ranks of the women's basketball world, including the top 25 and all the rest of the local conferences. Back alongside Crystal Thomas and Tanisha Stewart, both up in Los Angeles. Cal McClurg with you here from Studio 171 in San Diego. Good evening, guys. How's it going tonight?
Hey. I'm doing well.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
All right, folks, just to reiterate again, we apologize for the little technical faults we occurred. I actually had a few on my side of the computer. We've had a bit of a minor mic problem with Google Hangout the past couple nights, and obviously as well with Crystal having some problems as well. So again, we had to push back a little bit, but also as well just some minor faults there. And again, folks, a reminder again once more. But again, tonight is our last night of programming because we will be off all next week for the Thanksgiving holiday. So again, no programming next week here on the channel, and that will give us a chance to kind of give us a break from what we've done over the past couple weeks and everything else included. With that, though, folks, boy, oh boy, we had a pretty some really good action tonight, folks, in the women's college basketball world tonight. Going over the top 25 scores first this evening. Number 4, Tennessee, with a able to pull out a nice 57-55 victory over number 25 Syracuse in a game that obviously went to Tennessee, but was a very late comeback for number 25 Syracuse, but number 4 Tennessee pulls that game out 57-55. Also across the top 25 scoreboard, number 9 Maryland dismantled Detroit 97-41. Number 21 Cal over UC Riverside 64-58, and number 24 Chattanooga over Southern Mississippi 53-48. Tanisha, starting with you. Obviously, the Tennessee game was a game that all three of us were watching in some small capacity. And Syracuse, I think, dictated the pace of this game for, I want to say, maybe the first half, maybe into the third when Tennessee, only put up 9 points in that fourth quarter, but still, though, was able to hang on for the victory. Bashara Graves, the game-tying basket with 2:48 left in the game to help Tennessee win this game. And obviously, it was one of those, grind-out slugfest kind of games. It's like, a battle of attrition of who's going to be the first to make one small mistake towards the end. But Tennessee, though, pulling that game out, and even Courtney Dunbar said after the game, there's things to work on, and obviously we're only 3 games into the year, but Tennessee, though, does get the win. But Shorty, what impressed you most, though, about this game between Syracuse and Tennessee? Obviously, though, a great game all the way down the wire tonight in Knoxville.
I mean, most certainly it was a great game, throughout to the final end of the buzzer. I mean, it was crazy. Syracuse came into, the arena. They were fearless. They wasn't scared. They played with tenacity. And, their guards definitely dictated the tempo. That's why Tennessee, struggled earlier on, and then their defense was just smothering. I mean, they were basically, blocking big posts like Mercedes Russell, Bashard Graves, and but I will say, the guards, Andrea Carter and Tia Cooper. Tia Cooper, that's probably one of my favorite freshmen of the season. I mean, she just kept the ball rolling, for a freshman, and she played big. That's one of the things, and just everything came down to the final wire. A couple of bad mistakes from the Qs, especially at the free throw line. Hopefully, Crystal can chime in on that, but they definitely dropped the ball there and basically let the game slip away from them. But overall, it was a good win by Tennessee.
Crystal, like Tanisha said, though, Syracuse was not afraid, though, of the environment at TBA tonight. And obviously, you have those buildings, though, any sport you play, where you have that one place that's your house of horrors that you either get intimidated by the crowd that's there, or it's a building that you just can't win in. Like for a long time with the WNBA, with the Sparks, they could not win for their lives, either at U.S. Airways, now Talking Stadium Resort Arena in Phoenix, or even win at Target Center in Minneapolis. And either you get intimidated by the crowd that's there, and of course at Knoxville you get 20,000 screaming fans. every night. And even Candace Parker told me when we had our interview last year again about her playing at Duke was one of the most electric atmospheres she's had on the road, playing for UT in her, great 4 years there in Knoxville. So as we said, though, Syracuse not intimidated by the fans at, in TBA tonight, but of course played great. But again, though, free throws are a team's Achilles heel. Now, again, you can vouch for this more than I can since you actually played basketball. I mean, I can recall best, though, at PLNU last year how yesterday was my unofficial one-year anniversary of working at the university. Because, I went to one game and, saw their star player who's now got their number up here in Studio Wall of Fame, how she had missed 2 free throws towards the end of the game, but instead, though, of, being upset about that, went out there after the game for about half an hour and shot like 100 more free throws after that game ended, just to show the dedication to the game, though. But, Crystal, obviously this was a game that Syracuse could have easily tied at the free throw line, but in the same case, so they could have tied, or in their case, lose the game at the free throw line. So, Crystal, is the free throw shooting, though, late in the game, though, the X factor for the Tennessee victory over Syracuse in Knoxville tonight, or what else could it have been, though, and why?
That it was half a thing. If didn't miss that free throw, and I was actually, I was watching that, and I was pretty much, what would I do if I got? But that free throw, both those free throws, I don't think that was a factor of what made him lose the game, but that definitely down to the wire. I think a couple of bad possessions was half the reason why they lost. But that free throw being missed was definitely a huge factor. And you know how good Tennessee is? Diamond DeShields couldn't buy a basket. It didn't matter. They have so much depth on their roster. She's not even starting. So much depth on their roster, and they still, Diamond DeShields was today with pretty bad, even on Tennessee's roster with the way that she was playing. But Tennessee, if they want to keep it going, they have to clean up their game a little bit. It's still early, but the way they played, they let a number of people come in there and pretty upset. If Tennessee wants to keep going on, they have to play a little bit better.
Crystal, will stay with you for this next game. Again, number 9 Maryland defeating Detroit today, 97-41. The Terrapins hold Detroit to 8 in the first and 11 across quarters 2 and 3 for the 2, 3, and 4 for the victory. And obviously, Crystal, as well, start with you on this, as I said, because Brenda Freese got her 400th career coaching win this evening for the Terrapins, who are now 3-0, and Detroit, by the way, now falls to 0-3. Crystal, I know that you admire her along with Dawn Staley, 2 of the best coaches in women's college basketball, perhaps, other than, of course, Gino and Ariema being number 1 on everyone's totem pole. But Crystal, what has Brenda Freese done? What has she really done, though, for this Maryland program? Though, of course, they did have Lexi Brown, who of course, was there for a bit, ultimately bailed out and went to Duke earlier this year, though. But what has she done, though, for this Maryland program, though, these past couple of years in your mind?
I just think it's hard to say. I just think people really. I know we've said this a lot. It's very redundant now, but they come into our system. I mean, Brenda Freese is a coach. She's a players' coach, so the players absolutely love her. She lets players make mistakes. She lets them go out there and find their groove and find what they do best. But I think that's why ultimately the team does well. They want to play for her. They want to win for her, and I mean, there's nothing better than having a coach that you want to do that for, and I think that's the reason why Maryland is where they are now, and how quickly she turned the program around. She was there. I think she turned it around the second year.
Tanisha, going to you now for a different game in our last top 25 game for the night. Number 21, Cal over UCR, 64-58, and a pretty close game at Haas Pavilion earlier in the morning in Berkeley tonight. Courtney Range leading point getter for the Bears, 20 points, 5 and 1 today for her. You said, though, you were really intrigued, though, I think, when we had good talent, though, still on this Cal team, though. And, of course, beating UCR is a really good team in the Big West Conference today, again, in Haas earlier in the day. Shuri, though, what are your thoughts about Cal going forward? Because, again, though, as we said last night, they're going to be up there in in that top 5, maybe top 3 race for the Pac-12 title this year. But what do you see, though, from Cal today that may have perhaps locked you in a bit more today, and why?
I mean, of course, I caught the game around the fourth quarter. And it was pretty close. I will say, UC Riverside, they hung in there with them. They gave them a game to the final minute, but they ultimately pulled out. And I think I probably said this in the previous show that everyone was kind of wondering about Cal, with the loss of Rashonda Gray and Brittany Boyd, how are they going to perform coming into, this season? And I know it's, still early, but so far they're looking good and they're pulling out, close wins like they just did earlier today.
Yeah, that was a great win again for Cal tonight over UCR's hopscotching away from top 25. To some of the local scores tonight. First off in the Mountain West Conference tonight, St. Mary's defeats Wyoming tonight up in Laramie 70-64. Washington State got past Nevada Reno 70-57, and Washington doubled up on Fresno State at Save Mart Center 89-79. Former La Jolla Country Day standout Kelsey Plum from San Diego with 32 in the game for the Huskies. Third win of the year. They're now 3-0, and again beating Fresno State tonight 89-79 from Save Mart Center up in Fresno. Shorty, another team though to watch in the Pac-12 is going to be Washington. They're a really good team. Of course, Kelsey Plum has been their staple player for the past couple seasons, and again in a very tough conference, as we already said. What are your thoughts about Washington competing though in the Pac-12 this season, and your thoughts and reason why?
Well, I think it is going to be a challenge. I mean, like we said yesterday, the Pac-12 is one of the best, West Coast conferences there. So I think it's definitely going to be a challenge. Of course, it will remain to be seen, how they will progress throughout the year. But it'll definitely be challenging for them, this season.
Crystal, Washington has been they've been up there, like I said, like we've really said though, they've really been in the mix. They've been in the conversation for the conference tournament, the conference title, and even in the big dance. Well, and again, Kelsey Plum has been a player that kind of like with Candace Wiggins, I got to see play in high school when she was at La Jolla Country Day, and I mean she goes from a very good program down here in San Diego for high school to a program that's been kind of on the rise a little bit the past couple of years. They've been up there very consistently in the Pac-12. Chris, though, how far, though, do you think Washington does get, though, later in the season, and why?
Right now it's kind of too early to tell, but if I had to take a guess, I would say they might make it to the Pac-12 tournament, but I'm not sure how far they will go. It's still too early. We'll have to see, but I mean, they're a sleeper team. They've gotten better than what they were a few years ago, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did do some damage in the Pac-12.
All right, guys, moving over now to the rest of the Pac-12 scoreboard. We already reported on a few of the games tonight for the other scores in the Pac-12 Conference. Utah defeated George Mason at home 74-62. And also tonight, UCLA pummeled James Madison from Pauley Pavilion 90-61. Shorty, starting with you, let's go to Utah first. Now, they are one of the newbies in the Pac-12, recently making the move from the Mountain West to the Pac-12 a few seasons ago. Shorty, what did Utah though really get themselves into? Moving from a conference again, Mountain West, not really well known for athletic programs, but they turned out a lot of great players across many sports. What did Utah really get themselves into though when they made that conference jump though from the Mountain West to the Pac-12 though? Other than getting a lot of really tough teams though in that conference, what else did they get themselves into though athletically for the Pac-12 and why?
In my estimation, I think they just, wanted to compete in a tougher conference. They wanted more of a challenge. They wanted to challenge themselves more. So the move, to the bigger conference made sense in their case. Not anything against the Mountain West, but yeah, they definitely, want to challenge themselves more. So the move will be great for them, and they can learn to compete against the upper class teams and hopefully improve as their season goes on.
Crystal, segueing to you for the UCLA James Madison game up at Pauley again. UCLA over James Madison 90-61 again, and from Pauley Pavilion again. UCLA, by the way, outscored James Madison 30-8 in the second quarter of play tonight in this game. Crystal, UCLA is always they're always in the conversation. It doesn't really matter what sport it is. UCLA is always in the conversation for, the bigger and better stages of college sports in general. Crystal, where are you setting your expectations though for UCLA for this season though, and reasons why?
UCLA's kind of they've been on the down and out since I forgot. I'm sorry, what's her name? I can't think of her name right now. What is her name? She's at LSU now. I can't think of her name. Somebody help me here. The coach's name. What's her name
Nikki
again?
Caldwell.
There we go. There we go. Nikki Fargus now. Ever since Nikki, I think that coaching change did mean a lot for them. I would love to see them back into the rankings because they haven't been there in a while. Hopefully they can get their team together because, like you said, every time they come back, teams like UCLA and USC just because they're some of the bigger names in the Pac-12. So I would love to see UCLA get on the top again, but as far as how I think they're going to do, I'm not really quite so sure. I mean, they've been in this environment for the past few years, so hopefully they can change that.
All right, guys, checking in on the action tonight in the WAC tonight. There actually are no games for the Western Athletic Conference tonight. And moving over to the West Coast Conference, two finals tonight. Montana State over Portland, 86-57, as mentioned earlier, against St. Mary's over Wyoming, 70-64. There are also three other games in the West Coast Conference that have not reported a score yet. We have Cal State Fullerton at Pepperdine tonight from Firestone Fieldhouse up in wonderful Malibu, California. And also tonight, Cal Poly visiting San Francisco tonight at 7. And then also, just getting underway about a few minutes ago, LMU at Hawaii, also tonight in the West Coast Conference. But those games have not recorded a score yet this evening. Segueing from D1 down to the Division II ranks over in the Pacific West Conference tonight. A couple games or actually more than a couple games on the Friday night schedule tonight. Three games already final this evening. Earlier in the day, Academy of Art over Stanislaus State, 76-66. Central Washington hammered Notre Dame de Namur, 80-49. In Azusa Pacific over Western Washington, 91-67. There is still a few games that have not reported scores yet. The other games in the conferences tonight was Arizona Christian at BYU Hawaii earlier in the day, and also tonight, University of Alaska Anchorage at Hawaii Hilo, and Concordia Irvine at Cal State LA. A full slate of Pac-West action tomorrow beginning at 1 in the afternoon. Tomorrow we have Central Washington at Academy of Art, Dominican at San Francisco State, the University of Alaska at Hawaii Hilo, Humboldt State at California Baptist at 2 in the afternoon, Cal State Monterey Bay at Holy Names, Stanislaus State will be at Notre Dame de Namur, Arizona Christian at Hawaii Pacific, and at 6 o'clock tomorrow night our featured WNBA Network Hoops Hysteria matchup. Northwest Nazarene will play at Point Loma Nazarene University at the Sea Lions annual homecoming game at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Also tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, Dixie State will take on Utah Valley. Fresno Pacific at UC Merced, and Seattle Pacific will take on Azusa Pacific at 7:30 up in Azusa, California. Shorty and Crystal, Point Loma coming off, as I said earlier, or last night again, a convincing but exhibition game win over Bethesda University on Wednesday, 90-62. Shorty, I think we were talking about this off air last night, and again, you were able to catch about maybe the first half of the game I was calling on Wednesday. And obviously, again, Point Loma 2-0, and again, it was a game that didn't really count, but as we said, the games count here on Saturday. They'll take on a 1-1 team from the GNAC Conference. Shorty, as you had kind of told me a bit off air, though, what was your impression, though, of the Point Loma Sea Lions, though, that you probably got from me during the first half of that game you did hear, though? Your thoughts and why?
I mean, they pretty team that they were playing, so, I definitely think, they're going to be good overall this season. And just one name that we did talk about in the off-air hangout that comes to mind is Madison West. Madison West, oh, that kid is definitely going to be something, most definitely. I mean, the stats that she put up in that last game, I mean, they were definitely great. So her name comes to mind, but most definitely they'll be interesting to catch this season, and I know you'll have fun announcing each and every game for sure.
Again, folks, WNBA 365 Network's Hoops Hysteria continues tomorrow night when the Point Loma Sea Lions will host the Northwest Nazarene University Crusaders out of the GNAC Conference again. That game tips off at 6 o'clock. You can catch the live action for $9 on ponysealions.com/gameday, or check out our Twitter timeline for updates from the action at Golden Gym on Point Loma's homecoming night tomorrow night again at 6 o'clock PST. Over, guys, in the GNAC Conference, again, a lot going on this evening in the in each respective conference. We'll come back to them momentarily. We'll get to the California Collegiate Athletic Association, the CCAA, first, before we get back to the GNAC again. As we said, though, obviously, though, a lot of the teams that you've probably heard, though, for the Division II and the Pac West they're all playing their crossover tournaments again. We do this a lot with all of these schools again. So again, you'll probably hear these scores over again once more. But going back across the rest of the CCAA again, as we'll probably bring up here again once more. But again, the other scores again tonight: Academy of Art over Stanislaus State 76-66. There are a couple of games that have not reported final scores yet. The other games tonight were Seattle Pacific hosting UC San Diego, Simon Fraser hosting CSU San Bernardino, and again the other two finals tonight in the CCAA for the night: Concordia, California, losing to CSU LA 88-66, and also tonight Montana State Billings over Cal Poly Pomona 68-51, and also again Cal State East Bay at UC Colorado Springs. That game tipped off at 7:30, but again no score reported as of yet to the network again. And the games tomorrow in the CCAA and the other crossover tournaments again being hosted across the West Coast. Tomorrow will be Vanguard taking on CSU Dominguez Hills at 1 in the afternoon. Also tomorrow, California Baptist at Humboldt State. CSU Monterey Bay hosting Holy Names at 2 o'clock. Chico State at Western Oregon at 2 in the afternoon as well. Then, of course, as well across the board, Stanislaus State at Notre Dame de Namur. And also tomorrow, Menlo will be at Sonoma State. Simon Fraser at Cal Poly Pomona. Western Washington hosting UC San Diego in the annual Northwest Classic in Azusa, California. Dominican at San Francisco State. Cal State East Bay and Metro State, and Montana State Billings will take on Cal State San Bernardino. That game tomorrow night, once more, at 6 o'clock again tomorrow night. Checking in on the rest of the scores in the GNAC conference again. Some games, again, our final singers have not had scores reported as of yet. The games again tonight once more, getting a final from those two games in Hawaii, as mentioned earlier. Again, University of Alaska over Chaminade 82, or excuse me, the other games today as well in the GNAC go as follows once more. UC San Diego, by the way, did beat Seattle Pacific 73-60 at the West Region Crossover Classic in Azusa, California. Central Washington 80, Notre Dame de Namur 49. Cal State, San Bernardino 66, Simon Fraser 60. Azusa Pacific hammered Western Washington 91-67. Carroll got by Concordia 62-52. University of Alaska Anchorage mauled Hawaii Hilo 80-33. And Montana State Billings over Cal Poly Pomona 68-51. The other games for the GNAC tomorrow night and tomorrow across the rest of the shootout tournaments. Northwest will take on St. Martin's, Academy of Arts, Central Washington. And as in the other games mentioned, and again, once more, again, our feature game tomorrow night, guys, again, will be Northwest Nazarene at Point Loma Nazarene University, again, tipping off at 6 o'clock. Guys, moving away now from the D2, going back to the D1 ranks again, Shorty. We had some really great games again today. Today, again, seeing a lot of great action across the games again. Shorty, to revisit, though, that Tennessee-Syracuse game real quick before we move on to the games for tomorrow, before you wrap up for the night and dismiss class again. Tennessee, folks, in a great game again over number 25, Syracuse, 57-55. Shorty, obviously, as we said, though, pretty much last night and tonight, kind of being like broken records again. It is early, but again, though, Shorty, to see, a top 5 team get a scare from a ranked team, but again, the 25th ranked team, though, honestly, this may be one of those years, Shorty, where anyone can beat anyone regardless of rankings or records. Shorty, what does this game tonight kind of, what does it kind of dictate, I guess, for the way that the season's going to go this year for women's college basketball? Because we said, though, we saw North Carolina drop their first game, to an unranked opponent. We saw North Texas beat Oklahoma earlier. So what does, not just the ranked teams, but what does this say, though, about, perhaps upset city going on for the remainder of the season, though, with a lot of great and close games so far this year?
Well, when we subtract UConn out of this equation, as for everyone else, yeah, I definitely do see, for this season alone, you'll see a lot of parity between, a lot of teams, like we, just brought up, Tennessee getting a scare. Sorry, but I wouldn't put UNC in this equation. I mean, they're going to struggle all year long. But, for everyone else, it's definitely going to be close games, more close than we, actually, would predict to bring about Cal. Cal, UC Riverside earlier today also. So definitely going to see a lot of close contests. I do think the new format also plays a role somewhat in the whole equation, but we definitely will see a lot of close matchups this season.
Crystal, what is at least the first couple games of a season say in your mind about how wacky of a year this may be for women's college basketball? Again, you see North Carolina get upset in their first game when they were ranked 21st in the nation. North Texas beating Oklahoma. And then you see so many close upsets. That just don't happen. What does it really say though about how the game will be dictated this year on the floor in regards to just the games in general in your mind?
I mean, you took my phrase, upset city. I mean, that's what it's been. It's been upset city, and it's been early, and the fact that it's been really early and you already have upsets like this, that lets you know the season's going to be exciting. Um, I just can't wait to see how it's going to play out. I mean, it's you're seeing good teams, and I love it because I love going for the underdog. But you're seeing good teams, getting close games with mid-major teams or teams that aren't ranked, and I think it's good. It's a changing of guard. We need more competition in the women's game, and I'm glad we got it. I'm tired of seeing, teams sometimes just blow out teams that are supposed to be, sucky. But I'm kind of glad it's happening the way it is. Like I said, upset city, college basketball time.
Yeah, a changing of the guard or a little bit of a mix-up, I guess, to kind of get us out of the regular river we always whitewater raft down every year with the same teams blowing up the same teams, so on and so forth. And there's a bit of there's a bit more clarity and parity in this game now, where you see more and more of these games being closer than they should be. All right, guys, before we get out of here, we'll give you your top 25 scoreboard for tomorrow. A full slate of top 25 action for you folks tomorrow, beginning at 9 a.m. PST with number 23 Michigan State hosting Idaho State. Later on in the day, you got number 12 Texas A&M hosting TCU. Number 18 ASU visits Southern Methodist at 11 a.m. Also tomorrow, you got number 10 Mississippi State hosting Grambling State at 11 a.m. And then a pretty good matchup between number 22 George Washington and number 15 Stanford tomorrow as well. Then also at noon, number 3 Notre Dame will be at South Dakota State on ESPN3. And also at noon, number 11 Texas at Rice. And to wrap up your women's college basketball day, number 16 Louisville will be at Western Kentucky. You can catch the TCU Texas A&M game on the SEC network, along with also the Mississippi State and Grambling State game also on the SEC network. And again, you can catch Notre Dame and South Dakota State on ESPN3. And again, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, again, you'll be having Northwest Nazarene taking on Point Loma Nazarene. The Battle of the Nazbos tomorrow from Golden Gym. And again, you can catch the action on plnewsealines.com/game or check out our Twitter timeline for in-game updates as well. Again, the game again at 6 o'clock between the Crusaders and Sea Lions, with myself calling the action on plnewsealines.com/gameday and also live on the WNBA 365 Network Twitter timeline. With that, though, guys, we have run out of time for the night. It's been fun being here the past couple nights. Again, breaking out the college scores for the first time all season. We'll have plenty more, but again, we are on Thanksgiving vacation next week. So until the following week, until that following Monday, class is dismissed. Until then, folks, have a safe night. Drive home safely. Thanks for stopping by and joining us on such late and short notice, and good night now. This has been the WNBA 365 Network. We are the WNBA and covering the entire WNBA and women's basketball world for you folks out there. Well, again, we'll be off next week, and we'll be back with you folks the following week after that on Monday night. Take care and have a great Thanksgiving, folks, and see you then. For Crystal and Shorty up in L.A., Cal McClurkin and Sandy was signing off. See you in a couple weeks, and enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. Good night. Bye-bye.